So I feel like farmers markets are a little bit ruined for me. I'll make some of my favorite items and maybe it'll inspire you guys to make some of them too. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a bit different than what I originally planned on filming. We actually just went to the North Asheville tailgate market. We hadn't been there before, it was our first time, and I had planned to film some clips there, get some produce, and do a little cooking segment with some of the local produce that we bought. But after going there and wandering around, we realized that the prices were just
generally really high.
Yeah.
Like it was like $9–10 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And I get that inflation is a thing, but it's still pretty expensive.
And I feel like, you know, some of you guys that have been following my channel for a while probably have seen some of my videos where I've made my own bread and I've started to get more into self-sufficiency and making my own food from scratch. So I feel like farmers markets are a little bit ruined for me because I look at that and I'm like, I could make that for so much cheaper and I know how to do it.
Like a quarter of the cost.
Yeah,
and it's not very difficult either.
No, it's not. So I can't justify buying that. They had eggs, which I think the cheapest eggs I saw were $7 a dozen. Some were like $10 a dozen. To give you a couple other examples, we saw some plant starters. Since it's spring, some different stands had those available, but basically all of them were, was it $4 for one
Yeah,
plant?
like $4 for one plant. But then we saw Flying Cloud Farm.
It was $5 for 4 plants at the Flying Cloud Farm stand. And we thought, that's a much better deal, first of all. And anyway, we just couldn't justify paying the prices at the farmer's market. So I thought, why don't we just go to Flying Cloud Farm itself? There's a little farm stand off of 74A that's basically a help yourself kind of thing. You just put cash in the box and take whatever you want. So we just pulled up, seems like they have some stuff. They have some plant starters. I'm not sure if they have produce, but we're gonna check and see what they have.
Yeah, we'll take a look and show you guys.
Sounds good. I should also mention that this little stand is in Fairview if you're curious. So they have this little stand here, which I'll go into, and then the actual farm is kind of all around us, but like that's a private road there to their farm and house. And then these are the plant starts too. So where do you want to start? Do you want to look at the plants or up here?
Up here.
Okay. They have a few different options here, so you can get a mixture of veggies for $45 per tray, and a tray is basically just one whole thing of these. There's also these smaller ones, so if you want more of a variety, they have $5 for 4 of them. So there's romaine, they have dill, there's lettuce, dino kale, broccoli, cabbage, yeah, celery, collards, like tons of stuff. And I did notice this little sign that says all plants are frost tolerant, which is nice this time of year because you never know what the weather's going to be like in April. In terms of how you pay, they have a little Venmo scan here. You could also pay via cash, check, PayPal. Let me head over here. Oh, they have chamomile. So have some chamomile. I've never heard of status. Great for cut flowers. Okay. Straw flower, zinnias. So they do have some new stuff, yeah. Onions, chard, broccoli. Yeah, the cabbage and broccoli they had over there too.
There's the different types of kale.
Yeah, dino kale is our favorite. It's the most tender. The lettuces look really nice too.
Mm-hmm. Swiss chard, celery.
Yeah. All right, we just looked around at everything that they have. We're not gonna get anything today. We haven't exactly planned out our patio garden yet, but we're gonna come back and get some items probably at some point this week or next week. So yeah, we'll get some plant starts, but we'll definitely be coming back here. It's the next day now, and I thought it would be fun to cook a little bit with you guys. It's been a long time since I've done this. As you know, my plan was to get some ingredients from the farmer's market and cook up some of those, but the plan didn't really work out, so I'm just going to cook some other things that we already had planned. So what we do every week is we meal plan, so I have like everything that we want to cook for the week here. I'm not going to make everything today, but I'll make some of my favorite items, and maybe it'll inspire you guys to make some of them too. So I'm going to be starting out with the lemon cottage cheese pancakes. I know that cottage cheese has become a very popular ingredient because it adds a lot of protein to your meals. So this is one of my favorites. It has tons of protein, tons of fiber, and it tastes delicious too. So let's get to making some pancakes. Pancakes are all done. In total, there are 17 of them. I was nibbling on one while I was cooking, but I have 2 here with some fresh strawberries and a little bit of maple syrup. You don't need much as it already has a little bit of sweetness on its own. As you saw, I like to fry them up in a little bit of coconut oil. I find that that's just the best oil to cook with for pancakes. And I did forget to mention that this recipe is by Cambria Joy. She's another YouTuber that I follow, and I just love this recipe. It's probably my favorite pancake recipe that I've ever made. So I'm going to eat this and then make probably 2 more recipes. That's kind of the plan right now. Just started cooking up some of the ingredients for the next recipe that I'm making, and that is a Greek nourish bowl. This is actually also from Cambria. I have her cookbook and it's super delicious. We've made this before too. It's the Greek nourish bowl, which is basically chicken. There's rice, cucumbers, Kalamata olives, onion, pepper, a little bit of butter, and then also some homemade tzatziki sauce. So behind me here, let me show you what I have going on. So in here I have some chicken just cooking up, just like 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. You could use thighs, that's what she actually recommends. And then back here I have some rice. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit more. So just have some rice cooking in there. What I'm gonna work on while those things are cooking on the stove is chopping up some of those veggies and making that homemade tzatziki sauce. And then if there's some extra time, I'm going to make a homemade ice cream too. And I have not made that recipe before, so interested to give it a try. But let's get to chopping up some veggies. The Greek bowls are completely done. I'm not gonna have any right now. I'm gonna save it for dinner tonight, but everything looks good. Let me show you. So I have some of the chicken here. This basically was just seasoned with a little bit of avocado oil, salt, and pepper. I cut up some cucumber and Kalamata olives as a topping, sauteed up bell pepper and 1 onion. Have the homemade tzatziki sauce here, and then some brown rice. I was going to make this with bone broth, but I forgot the best way to do that is to soak the rice overnight, and I forgot to do that. So it's just regular plain brown rice. Now that that's done, I'm going to make one last recipe, and that is the homemade ice cream. It's supposed to be really simple. It's just cottage cheese, honey or maple syrup, peppermint extract, and then a little bit of shaved chocolate. You can add a little bit of spirulina powder in there too to get that green color. I don't have any on hand right now, so I'm not going to include that, but yeah, basically just throw it all in a blender and put it in the freezer for 4 hours minimum. That's all the cooking I'm going to do for today, but I do hope that you guys enjoyed that little cooking segment. As you know, I wanted this video to be more geared around the farmers market and supporting local farmers and local businesses, but it didn't really work out that way, and so I wanted to just talk a little bit more about that. So we went to the farmers market yesterday, like I mentioned, the North Asheville tailgate market. I had been to the East Asheville farmers market before, like a few years ago, and that one was all right, but the pricing there seemed to be pretty expensive. I've been to the large WNC farmers market that's on the west side of town, and there's other farmers markets too. The WNC one is open, I think, all year round, like 7 days a week, or at least like 6 days a week. It's open a lot and it's really big. And then there's one in the River Arts District, or there was. I'm not sure that they're still doing that now since that area is still being revitalized, but there are a lot of different options for farmers markets. The North Asheville one was the highest rated, and that's why I picked that one to go and film, but the prices were just too much for me to justify. If you follow me over on Instagram, or maybe you saw my recent short that I put out on YouTube, then you'll know that I recently did a deep dive into grocery prices and where the best place is in the Asheville region to buy high quality groceries. I'm mainly stuck with grocery stores, so I looked at Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Aldi, Fresh Market, Publix, Sam's, Earth Fare. I think that's all of the in-person grocery stores. I also looked at online sites like Vitacost and some meat subscription services, and I pretty much just made a spreadsheet comparing the costs of various items that I tend to buy. So I had on there items like organic romaine, organic vine tomatoes, grass-fed ground beef, organic boneless skinless chicken, some canned beans, and a few other items too, and I pretty much compared prices at every single grocery store. And I also did look a little bit at farmers market pricing, and I compared all of them, and I shared the results in the Instagram reel and also on the YouTube short. I'm very new to YouTube shorts, so I'm not sure if I can link that video up here, but if I can, I'll go ahead and do that. But if not, it'll be one of my most recent ones if you go to my channel. So all that being said, I compared prices, and the farmers market was just really, really expensive, and I'm understanding of maybe paying a little bit more to support local businesses, but it was just so much more. To give you guys a few more examples, I saw ground beef at the farmers market yesterday that was $10 a pound, whereas I can literally go down the road to Hickory Nut Gap Farm, which is a local farm in Fairview, and buy it for like, I want to say $8 a pound, maybe even a little bit cheaper, depending on if they have a sale. it just doesn't make sense to me to go to the farmer's market and pay more. And also a lot of times at grocery stores, they do have local options. I've seen local produce at like Whole Foods, for example. All in all, I was kind of taken aback by how high the farmer's market prices were, but I will continue to support places like Flying Cloud Farm. This upcoming week, Ian and I are going to the Herb Festival, and it's going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're planning to pick up some plant starts and get a patio garden going. We've tried this in years past, and it really failed pretty badly. I think because we weren't watering plants enough, everything is potted. Everything has to be potted on our patio since we're in an apartment. And I think that we just didn't water things enough and they just shriveled up in the summer heat. So that will be the next video coming out. Well, that is everything that I wanted to cover in today's video. I really hope that you guys got something out of this and found it helpful. I do enjoy filming these more casual vlogs. So if you enjoy this type of content, leave me a comment and let me know. Subscribe, of course, if you are not already. And I will see you very soon in the next one.